Approximately 9 weeks ago, a group of American sons and daughters arrived at the 434th Field Artillery Brigade to embark on a journey that would change their lives forever. On this day, these soldiers have proven they have what it takes to become a member of one of the most well-renowned organizations across the globe, the United States Army.
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, "My Pledge," he had written these words: "America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone." We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
extra mile. Push weapon extra mile. Hell shoot 'em down the line. Hell shoot 'em down the line. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fire! 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 Beware! Ready! Halt! Center! Fair!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. Welcome to the Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 19th Field Artillery Basic Combat Training Graduation Ceremony. Today marks the successful completion of the demanding requirements of 9.5 weeks of rigorous Army basic combat training for these soldiers. This graduation is your special event to share with your soldier. You are invited to move about and take pictures as you please. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation and the playing of the national anthem. The invocation will be given by the 434 Field Artillery Brigade Chaplain, Major Sherborne.
Our God is an awesome God. His mercy endures forever. Let us pray. Thank you, Almighty God, for this great graduation day at Fort Sill and for all it means for everyone here. Thank you for the parents, spouses, family, and friends. Thank you for the drill sergeants and cadre. Thank you for these great men and women who have now become soldiers in the United States Army. Thank you for helping them through basic training and for all their lives. God bless them. Be with them. Continue helping and supporting them through the rest of their lives as you have helped them and supported them up through now. God bless all who have helped them make it to this day. And God bless the United States of America. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the commander of Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 19th Field Artillery, Lieutenant Sutherland.
Good morning. Command Sergeant Major Harding, Lieutenant Colonel Larson, Colonel Cook, Command Sergeant Major Rainey, Colonel Larson, Command Sergeant Major Slater, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lieutenant Sutherland, and I am an American soldier. On behalf of the Fort Sill Command Team, welcome to Fort Sill, the 434 Field Artillery Brigade, and Echo Battery, 1st Battalion, 19th Field Artillery graduation ceremony. Thank you all for joining us today as we commemorate the accomplishments of your warriors and our newest American soldiers. Before we continue to move forward in celebration of the Army's next generation, we must take time to honor those who have served before us. With the military veterans and those currently serving that are seated among us, please stand and be recognized. Thank you for all you have done. 10 weeks ago, these Echo Warriors seated before you to my left, before you left home, many for the first time, to become part of something bigger than themselves. Although they arrived as individuals, they are leaving as members of a time-honored team. They have worked and succeeded in every task that was put before them, because failure was not an option. As they tell you, it takes more than boots and a uniform to make an American soldier. They have been instilled with the fundamentals of discipline and have embodied the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These fundamentals and values are acquired but put into practice every day through tough, realistic, and safe training. You have already heard the stories about the sting of the gas chamber, the nervousness of throwing a live hand grenade, the anxiety of rappelling from Treadwell Tower, or the pride of passing the final Army physical fitness test. These stories are just a small representation of their overall experience. In just over 67 days, they trained on the primary weapon system, foot marched more than 60 miles, learned how to perform life-saving measures, and experienced the beautiful, ever-changing weather of Oklahoma. Every training event is a building block towards forming a foundation of skills these soldiers will use in everyday life and combat. They have shaped these skills by training like their lives and the lives of their battle buddies depended on it. Furthermore, they understand that the soldier's creed and the warrior ethos are not just words to memorize, but the words that the American soldiers live by. These soldiers have met every challenge head-on and succeeded due in large part to the positive leadership and demanding environment created by our Army's finest non-commissioned officers. These outstanding coaches, mentors, and role models taught your soldiers the true meaning of discipline and teamwork. The drill sergeant's professionalism, competence, and dedication to the standards have made a lifelong impression on your soldiers. Most importantly, these soldiers would not be here today if it were not for the undying love and support of their family and friends. I applaud you all and ask that you continue to support your soldier throughout their military careers. They became American soldiers for you, their family, and friends. Soldiers of Echo Battery, I extend my gratitude to you for the sacrifices you have made to become an American soldier during time of war. By taking this courageous step at a dangerous time in our history, you have truly set yourself apart from your fellow citizen as the defenders of freedom and the American way of life. You are all well trained. You are mentally, physically, and emotionally tough. I would be honored to lead each and every one of you on today's modern battlefield. Godspeed and good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for our newest American soldiers. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Chief Warrant Officer 5, John A. Robinson, most recently served as the 3rd Chief Warrant Officer of the Field Artillery. He enlisted as a Field Artillery Fire Support Specialist in 1988 and was appointed as a Warrant Officer 1 Field Artillery Targeting Technician in 1995. He has served as a leader and staff officer at every echelon of the Joint Force, including 14 different staffs at battalion, brigade, division, corps, Joint Task Force, Army Service Component Command, Theater Army, Combatant Command, Army Command, and 2 numbered Air Forces. He has 4 combat tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Middle East, and was continuously engaged in the global war of terror from 2002 to 2013 at progressively higher levels of responsibility. He has also served as Director, Department of Joint, Interagency, and Multinational Operations, U.S. Army Warrant Officer, Career College. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chief Warrant Officer 5, Robinson.
Good morning. There's a lot of you. I thought I would get something louder. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, thank you. It's the that's the first time anybody's introduced me as the former Chief Warrant Officer of the Field Artillery. I came out of position earlier this month. I think I'm still getting used to it. Lieutenant Colonel Larson, Command Sergeant Major Harding, Command Sergeant Major Slater, our distinguished guests, and our family members, especially you veterans. I'm the oldest guy in uniform in this room, so I really appreciated to see all the veterans stand up, because now there's somebody older than me. I want to thank you, the parents, the spouses, the siblings, the children. I hear you. Your support for your soldier has only just begun. As they continue this journey, their adventure, this profession, your support will matter ever more. In this era of texting and email and social media, a snail mail letter is still welcome, and a package is even more welcome. Soldiers like snacks, I'm just saying. So to my new brothers and sisters in this profession of arms, congratulations on this very important milestone. You did it. For most of you, 9 weeks, a lot of early mornings, late nights, sleepless nights, tough physical training, lots to memorize, a few changes to your diet, a new wardrobe. Over the past week, I thought about how I felt after I graduated from this same brigade over 31 years ago. I realize there's very little difference between me then and you now. I was anxious to get to my advanced individual training and start learning my new job skill. Now, most of you will either stay here as field artillerymen or air defense artillerymen, or you'll head to Fort Huachuca for military intelligence training, or you'll head to Fort Sam Houston for medical training, or maybe Fort Lee for training in a number of logistics fields. But there's a few unique soldiers in this class that'll take on some other challenges. There's an aviation operations specialist, just one. A paralegal, just one. 2 finance specialists. And I'm going to keep you 2 on speed dial in case my retiree paychecks don't start on time. A couple of chaplain's assistants in this class, and even an ammunition specialist. 22 of you are 13 Fox fire support specialists. Get a little catch in my throat there. That was my own enlisted MLS. And 4 of those 22 are women. Now, that shouldn't be remarkable to you, but I promise you, 31 years ago in the field artillery, women were nearly as scarce as teeth on a rooster. Today, women serve in every one of our field artillery enlisted specialties. and are commanding platoons and batteries the world over. In fact, over a quarter of this graduating class are women. Boy, I am proud of my Army. Hashtag me too. But no matter what skill you take on, we are still soldiers first. We shoot, we move, we communicate, we take care of our battle buddies, and we maintain our physical fitness and readiness to fight another day. Those core skills are what basic combat training has been all about. What your drill sergeants have been preparing you for every day. What my drill sergeant prepared me for in this same brigade. And with this foundation, you'll move forward to your next phase of training, no matter where you go. Remember what you've learned here. You'll use it often. Remember, too, you're one of us now. A brother or a sister in the profession of arms. From all walks of life and from reaches far and wide. You know, I invite the audience to listen closely as these American soldiers introduce themselves before they walk across this stage. They don't just come from every state in the Union, but from countries across the globe. The only thing that inspires me more than seeing a young man or woman volunteer to serve their country in time of war is watching a new immigrant raise their hand to serve their adopted country just as willingly. How uniquely American. The Army is one of the oldest institutions in this country, over 244 years old. Older even than our Constitution. And the country holds the American soldier in the highest regard. That's a precious honor, earned by those who came before you. So you must continue to earn it every day. I'll retire next month. After over 31 years, and it's time. Your wife tells you when it's okay to PCS, but God tells you when it's time to retire. I was recently diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm not scared. Because soldiers don't get scared, and I am comfortable that my replacement is sitting in this room right now. Congratulations, fellow American soldiers of Echo Battery, 1st of the 19th Field Artillery. Let's stand and face the next challenge together. Warriors, Army strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Robinson. In keeping with the 434 Field Artillery Brigade's policy of recognizing superior performance, awards will be presented to those soldiers that have distinguished themselves during the training cycle. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to come forward and take pictures at any time, but please do not interfere with the movement of the soldiers to and from their seats. Thank you. The Distinguished Honor Graduate of the Cycle Award is presented to the soldier who demonstrates overall excellence in training and character development throughout their training cycle. This cycle's distinguished honor graduate is
Private Jaden Faltasek, Abbotsford, Wisconsin.
the Basic Rifle Marksmanship Award is presented to the soldier that attains the highest score during the live fire qualification with the M4 rifle. This cycle's recipient scored a 37 out of 40. He is also receiving honors. The Marksmanship Award is presented to
Private Jeffrey Cooner, Monette, Missouri.
the Physical Fitness Award is presented to the soldier who achieved the highest score in the final Army Physical Fitness Test. This cycle's recipient scored a 354 on the extended scale of 300. He is also receiving honors. This award is presented to
Private First Class Benjamin Everett, Bloomington, Illinois.
An Act of Heroism by Private Louis Burtz, Battery A, 19th Field Artillery Regiment, on the night of 18 August 1918, gave the regiment its motto, Percentilum Flama, through the spark, the flame. The 1st Battalion fired over 2,000 artillery rounds at the enemy, attempting to capture the village of Frapella and Hill 415. The Germans retaliated with mustard and arsenic gases. During the battle, Battery A had trouble with the lights used as aiming points. Disregarding his own personal safety, Private Burtz took up a station in front of the guns and lit matches so the guns could be sighted without aiming points. He continued this during all the shelling around him. The enemy shells bursting saturated the area with gas as his own guns were firing over him. He came through this unscratched. Private Burtz was killed the next day in an accident. In today's Army, soldiers are still asked to display the Army values and warrior ethos that Private Louis Burtz showed on that August day. The Private Louis Burtz Award is presented to
Private Tianchen Shi, Orange County, California.
The following soldiers are designated as honor graduates. Their superior performance has placed them in the top 10% of their graduating class. These soldiers have received a letter of commendation from the 1st Battalion, 19th Field Artillery Battalion Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Larson, which has been placed in their official files. We ask that you please hold your applause until all honor graduates have been recognized.
Private First Class Destiny Arroyo, Kerman, California.
Private Jacob Ayers, Madison, Wisconsin.
Private John Casey, Rain, Louisiana.
Private Jacqueline Castrejon, Houston, Texas.
Private First Class Ryan Conroy, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Private Ivan Garcia, Newark, Delaware.
Private Bradley Groth, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Specialist Taylor Henschel, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Private Natalie Hertling, Hibbing, Minnesota.
Specialist Maya Larry, Covington, Georgia.
Private Cameron Lawyer, Toledo, Ohio. Specialist Taylor May, Cordova, Nebraska.
Private First Class Dylan Nunnally, Grayson, Georgia.
Private Kaylee Rockwater, Rochester, Minnesota.
Private Connor Bolin, Sonora, California.
Private First Class Tracy Richards, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Private Bentley Robertson, Americus, Georgia.
Private Annalise Westman, Lino Lakes, Minnesota.
Private Michael Wyrick, Fairfax Station, Virginia.
Please give these exceptional soldiers a round of applause. And now, for the rest of graduating class 49-19, please hold your applause until all soldiers have crossed the stage. First platoon is led by
Damascus, Maryland.
The graduates of 1st Platoon Gunslingers are
Private Morgan Osgard, Houston, Texas.
Private Nicholas Aldana, El Paso, Texas.
Private Jasmine Allen, Atlanta, Georgia.
Private Jeremiah Andrews, Lafayette, Indiana.
Private Javier Arredondo, Chicago, Illinois.
Private Jose Arroyo, Ponce, Puerto Rico.
Private Amore Atimulawa, Belleville, Illinois.
Private First Class Jacoby Baines, Alexandria, Louisiana.
Private Alexis Barricky, Union City, New Jersey.
Private Justice Barber, Duluth, Minnesota.
Private Carlos Berrigan, Merced, California. Private Matthew Bartholomew, Pocatello, Idaho.
Private Matthew Pistala, Nokesville, Virginia.
Private Shalom Berry, Riedley, California.
Private Amy Berner, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Private Alan Bogue, Huron, South Dakota.
Private Mauricio Bolaños, Jasper, Indiana. Private Alan Bolden, Newark, Delaware. Private Christopher Brown, Chester, Virginia. Private Ethan Brown, Cleveland, Mississippi. Private Jacquez Brown, South Haven, Mississippi.
Private Caleb Brose, Wildomar, California.
Private Tristan Brzezinski, Oregon, Wisconsin.
Private Jenselin Busio, Chicago, Illinois.
Private Cole Butts, York Haven, Pennsylvania.
Private First Class Joshua, Canada, Magazine, Arkansas.
Private Catherine Carpenter, Deer Park, Washington.
Private Jalissa Cobus, St. Paul, Minnesota. Private Michaela Cody, Lakeville, Minnesota.
Private Nautica Cohenauer, Charleston, West Virginia.
Private Anderson Coons, Gold Hill, Oregon.
Private Clayton Cornelius, Derrick City, Pennsylvania.
Private Samuel Crocker, Springfield, Illinois. Private First Class John Anthony Cruz, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Private Dakota Curry, National City, Michigan.
Private Eliana De Silva, Paxton, Massachusetts.
Private Cameron DeLago, Grass Valley, California.
Private First Class Carson Dybel, Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Private Mauro Delgado, Stanford, Connecticut.
Private Roberto Delgado, Worcester, Massachusetts. Private Cole Domeyer, Adrian, Minnesota.
Private First Class Hector Dones, Carolina, Puerto Rico.
Private Alan Donis, Pomona, California.
Private Alexander Dudley, Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Private Ryan Duffy, Spanaway, Washington.
Private Samantha Edwards, Dinwiddie, Virginia. Private Abby Faulkner, Elizabethtown, Kentucky.
Private Stephen Moore, Huntsville, Alabama.
During the training cycle, there are certain standards that have to be met in order to be distinguished honor platoon. For Class 49-19, 2nd Platoon has met these standards and is distinguished as the honor platoon. 2nd Platoon is led by
Drill Sergeant Wynn, Houston, Texas.
the graduates of 2nd Platoon, Wolfhounds, are
Private Logan Dukes, Yakima, Washington.
Private Nathaniel Easterly, Compton, California. Private First Class James Elder, Rogers, Arkansas. Private Ethan Eiler, Chisago City, Minnesota.
Private Kaylee Fout, York, Pennsylvania. Private First Class Golda Perez, Bremerton, Washington.
Private Carl Finnemore, Style, New York.
Private First Class Brendan Fisher, Seabrook, Texas.
Private Peyton Flannery, Spokane, Washington.
Private Joshua Garcia, Newburgh, New York. Private Christopher Gensheimer, Lynchburg, Virginia.
Private Corey Gerks, Princeton, Iowa.
Private Vincent Gibson, Warren, Michigan.
Private Chadrick Gideon, Salem, Oregon. Private Brian Glasner, Mesa, Arizona.
Private Ryan Godfrey, Inverness, Florida.
Private Jose Godinez, Salinas, California. Private First Class Owen Goebel, Mankato, Minnesota.
Private Jacob Goki, Boxford, Massachusetts.
Private Jennifer Gomez, Chester, Virginia.
Private Ángel González, Comerío, Puerto Rico.
Private Eduardo Gonzalez, Wendell, North Carolina.
Private Nicholas Goodwill, St. Mary's, Pennsylvania.
Private Laney Green, Statesville, North Carolina.
Private Dylan Gregory, Oakboro, North Carolina.
Private Dylan Hale, Lamont, Illinois.
Private Mason Hall, Frankfort, Kentucky.
Private First Class Shane Hanna, Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Private Christopher Harrell, St. Cloud, Florida.
Private Jackson Harris, Constantine, Michigan.
Private Derek Hauk, York, Pennsylvania.
Private Ryan Hawthorne, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Private Thomas Headington, Montferland, New Hampshire.
Private Damian Heber, Stockton Springs, Maine.
Private Jacob Hernandez, Waynesboro, Georgia.
Private Kyle Hessen, Chatham, Illinois.
Private Stephen Hibbs, Spencer, Iowa.
Private Allison Higgins, Buffalo, Minnesota.
Private First Class Maurice Hogan, Aurora, Illinois.
Private First Class Samuel Howard, Lehigh, Utah.
Private Cassette Jakeways, Walled Lake, Michigan.
Private Hada Jen, Trenton, New Jersey.
Private Samantha Kiahi, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Private First Class Mary Kearney, Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Private Elena Killebrew, Statesboro, Georgia.
Private Aaron Stevens, Middleburg, Florida.
Private Hassan McNish, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
3rd platoon is led by
Drill Sergeant Atkinson, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
the graduates of 3rd platoon Legionnaires are
Private Cameron Jefferson, Los Angeles, California.
Private First Class Alex Knapp, Center Point, Iowa.
Private Asia Kirkendall, Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Private Khalil Kwok, Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Private Chandler Lamb, Rochester, Indiana.
Private John Lamb, North Little Rock, Arkansas.
Private Zachary Latham, Violin, New Jersey.
Private Jordan LaValle, West Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Private Javier Lee, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Private Elias LaFleur, Salem, Massachusetts.
Private Godeska Lloyd, Bronx, New York.
Private Juan Lopez, Lynn, Massachusetts.
Private Colby Lawaji, St. Joseph, Minnesota.
Private Connor McGibbon, Damascus, Oregon.
Private Kyle Macklin, Gresham, Oregon.
Private Chase Maddox, West Point, Utah.
Private Dylan Maine, Olean, New York.
Private Jorge Martinez, Chicago, Illinois.
Private Madison Martinez, Gilbert, Arizona.
Private Wesley Martinez, Tobaja, Puerto Rico.
Private Benjamin Maskey, North Prairie, Wisconsin.
Private Braden McFarland, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Private Jacob McWilliams, Cabot, Arkansas.
Private Johanna Mejia, Kansas City, Missouri.
Private Brandon Merck, Canton, Georgia.
Private Allison Merlos, Commerce, Georgia.
Private Nathan Mitchell, Mercer, Pennsylvania.
Private Yaritza Montiel, Bronx, New York.
Private First Class Nicholas Morgan, St. Peter, Minnesota.
Private Dylan Nelson, Heron Lake, Minnesota.
Private Caleb Nimlos, Blaine, Minnesota.
Private Jenny Ojako, Frederick, Maryland.
Private Christopher Olbera, Sinton, Texas.
Private Jenna Ovio, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Private Kevin Pice, Ladson, South Carolina.
Private Fabiola Ramirez, Compton, California. Private Amia Ramos, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Private Daniel Witt, White Pine, Tennessee.
Private Jackie Zong, Brooklyn, New York.
4th Platoon is led by
Drill Sergeant Butler, Mesquite, Texas.
the graduates of 4th Platoon Spartans are
Private Gavin Hash, Walford, Iowa.
Private First Class Jimmy Hall, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Private David Pinto, Windsor, Connecticut.
Private Manuel Perella, Lawrence, Massachusetts. Private First Class Ivan Rankins, Chicago, Illinois.
Private Jacob Rollins, Tigard, Oregon.
Private Duane Reeses, Detroit, Michigan.
Private Jagger Richards, Interlaken, Michigan.
Private Harrison Rivera, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Private Alexis Rivera, El Paso, Texas.
Private Douglas Robinson, Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Private Marissa Robinson, Chicago, Illinois.
Private Andres Rodriguez, San Antonio, Texas.
Private Avery Roy, Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Private Nathan Ruff, Mill Spring, North Carolina.
Private Patrick Sachs, Belmont, North Carolina.
Private Dallas Scott, Spring Hill, Kansas.
Private Chase Settlemeyer, Spencerville, Ohio.
Private Lucas Shahan, Brookfield, Connecticut.
Private Craig Sloan, Dallas, Texas. Private DJ Smith, Arion, Indiana. Private Mitchell Sorns, Wapaka, Wisconsin.
Private Jennifer Sotelo, Wilmington, Delaware.
Private Haley Spears, Crawfordville, Florida.
Private Judson Stanfield, Pickensville, Alabama. Private Jeremy Stepanek, North Huntington, Pennsylvania. Private Cameron Stinson, Kingman, Kansas.
Private Seth Strickland, Trinity, North Carolina.
Private Jonah Sullivan, Papillion, Nebraska.
Private Abigail Susala, Warren, Michigan. Private First Class Rhiannon Swartz, Reading, Pennsylvania.
Private First Class Scott Teeling, Naperville, Illinois.
Private Braden Thompson, Chillicothe, Ohio.
Private Emily Thompson, Arlington, Texas.
Private Paige Tucker, Meadville, Pennsylvania.
Private First Class Giovanni Velez, trabaja Puerto Rico.
Private First Class Jessica Wallace, Norfolk, Virginia.
Private Joshua Walsh, Derry, New Hampshire.
Private William Wirt, Camden, South Carolina.
Private First Class Marcus Westfield, Pipestone, Minnesota.
Private Jordan Willis, Lehigh, Utah.
Private Andrew Williamson, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Private Jacob Weiser, Waxahachie, Texas.
Private Raymond Yanez, North Huntington, Pennsylvania.
Private Jesse Yap, Bakersfield, California.
Private Murphy Yates, Athens, Alabama.
Private First Class Colby Johnson, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Private Rocky Millage, Birmingham, Alabama.
Please give all these very deserving soldiers of Echo Battery a round of applause. At this time, Lieutenant Sutherland will present the guest speaker, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Robinson, with a certificate declaring him an honorary graduate of Class 49-19.
Warriors lead the way. So I'm going to go off script a little bit. So whenever I heard Chief Warrant Officer 5 Robinson was going to be our guest speaker, Chief Warrant Officer 5 is pretty rare. But I read his bio. I heard pretty amazing stories about him from Lieutenant Colonel Larson, and I knew that we had something special, someone that you don't usually get to speak at your graduation or really come by ever in your life. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to have someone like Chief Warrant Officer 5 Robinson. So I knew that when we do our graduation, we're going to have to do it right, we're going to have to do it well, make an honorary mention for sure. But then I heard he's a Boston Red Sox fan, so we also got you the Boston Red Sox jersey to wear in your retirement, and know that Class 49-19 will be towing the line while you enjoy your retirement. Appreciate you.
We will now present a brief video displaying some of the more memorable moments of the basic training cycle.
Oh
The soldiers we are honoring today would not be here if it weren't for the efforts of the drill sergeants and battery cadre. These truly professional cadre members gave much of themselves and demonstrated great devotion to prepare these soldiers to meet the challenges of military duty around the world. The cadre, which are the backbone of Echo Battery, are Battery Executive Officer, First Lieutenant Alexander Crosby, Battery First Sergeant, Sergeant First Class Timothy Morningstar, Training Room NCO, Staff Sergeant Jason Fillmore, Supply Sergeant Specialist Cheryl Leach, the drill sergeants,
Forward, march, left, right, left, walk, 2, 3, mark out, march, walk, group, walk, left, wait.
The drill sergeants assist individuals in their efforts to become highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldiers capable of defeating the enemy on today's modern battlefield. The drill sergeants to the strength of Echo Battery are 1st Platoon Senior Drill Sergeant Jones, assisted by Drill Sergeant Olvera, assisted by Drill Sergeant Reisinger. 2nd Platoon Senior Drill Sergeant Wynn, assisted by Drill Sergeant Crabb, assisted by Drill Sergeant Grouser, assisted by Drill Sergeant Lopez. 3rd Platoon Senior Drill Sergeant Atkinson, assisted by Drill Sergeant Wasetta, assisted by Drill Sergeant Pearson. 4th Platoon Senior Drill Sergeant Butler, assisted by Drill Sergeant Knight, assisted by Drill Sergeant Gilpin.
At this time, Lieutenant Sutherland will come forward to present the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Award. The Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Award is presented to the Drill Sergeant who has best displayed the qualities of leadership and devotion to duty during the training cycle. This award is presented to Drill Sergeant Lopez from Fort Worth, Texas. Drill Sergeant Lopez will receive an Army Achievement Medal and the Drill Sergeant of the Cycle Trophy. Specialist Leach is now presenting a bouquet of flowers to Drill Sergeant Lopez's significant other, Stephanie Rosado, for the moral support she has given to the battery and Drill Sergeant Lopez during the training cycle. At this time, on behalf of the 434 Field Artillery Brigade Command Team, Command Sergeant Major Harding is now presenting Drill Sergeant Lopez with the 434 Field Artillery Brigade Coin for Excellence. Drill sergeants follow a set of fundamental beliefs that guide them in training soldiers. The principles are set forth in the Drill Sergeant Creed.
I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintain the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring the soldier to attempt any task I will not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, an American soldier's first act is to swear to defend our Constitution. Just as the Constitution of the United States is the cornerstone of our free society, the soldier's oath is the backbone of the Army's commitment to preserving it. Graduates, please stand for the reaffirming of your oath.
Soldiers, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And that I'll obey the orders of the President of the United States. And the orders of the officers appointed of me. According to regulation. And the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a final applause for the Army's newest soldiers. Please stand for the singing of the Army song. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated while the graduates exit the building.
Center, face! Forward, more! Left, 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 right, left. 1, 2,
Ladies and gentlemen, how about one final round of applause for our newest soldiers? Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony.